Hello, everybody. Welcome to Rock, Paper, Hand Grenades. I'm Matt Connerton, and to my right, the Honorable, or as I think they say in France, Honorable, Gary S. Hopper. Is that how they say it?
Oui.
Oui. Gerard Depardieu. That's about all the French I know.
All the ones I know is...
French fries. I know that.
We know who we have on tonight?
I do know.
The Grand Fromage of Uptown Auto.
The Grand Fromage?
Grand Fromage.
How do you do that with your...
Well, you do speak French.
Yeah. How do you make that sound?
I know.
Jesus.
Sorry.
How do you do that?
Yeah,
I can't.
that's weird.
It's just secret.
Oh.
Passed down from generation of Irish. Yeah.
Is it an ancient Chinese secret?
No, it's China. It's an Irish Gaelic type thing.
Oh,
Cool.
right.
We didn't get that.
Yeah, I missed that totally. Yeah.
Didn't realize.
I guess that's it. That's all the show for tonight.
Well, that's about all the learning.
Hey, what'd you think of the debate last night?
You know his name, by the way.
John Heichel.
Yeah.
Represent the Honorable John Heichel, actually.
John Eichel, yes.
I got
You're honorable after you're a representative.
Right.
That's what I found out.
Yeah. You're actually honorable indefinitely, too.
Right. After you're representative, yes.
Yes. You know what was really weird? I was watching the pre-debate. I watched parts of each. I think Lindsey Graham, because of his name, because to me, arrogance is a substitute or a disguise for people who are extremely insecure. Mm-hmm. And I think he's just really, really insecure. I think because of his name, Lindsey, he was beaten up so many times when he was little. He got to be an adult, and he's still carrying around that baggage, and he's got to come across as his wicked, super tough guy. And he's talking about getting into World War III with Putin.
Oh, yeah.
Him and Christie are both talking about, no-fly zones, and we're going to blow Russian aircraft out of the air. Are you out of your mind?
Carly Fiorina was talking like that last
It's
night.
like, wow!
She talks like that more than anybody. She really scares me.
Yeah.
Rand Paul called everybody on it. I don't know if you saw that part.
No,
but
I did.
Yeah,
I
he
did.
did.
Rand Paul at one point was literally shaking his head at how crazy these people were sounding, and said he actually used the phrase World War III. You guys are going to get us into World War III. This is crazy.
He is correct. They're out of their minds.
They are.
Yeah, they're going overboard. I think that Mr. Trump has brought the level of the debates and things that people are talking about to the forefront. And the candidates now, they feel that they have to
One-upmanship.
them, and I think that's what they were talking about. But Lindsey Graham was, right from the get-go last night on the B team, or I don't know what you call that.
The kids' table. Or...
Hopefully they get rid of that. Hopefully the four that. Well, I guess they can have it, but just not on network TV.
Once we hit the primaries, some of them will start falling.
Maybe they
off
could
and
come
can
to
have
like
one debate.
Manchester TV. They could do that like here.
Yeah.
And then they could switch over to the primetime group, the first group.
Something,
right?
but it was,
It's really, I thought it was awful. And it started right off, they were hammering Trump, and they were just, but Rick Santorum, I was very happy that he actually didn't take the low road. He was.
Rick Santorum's an honorable guy.
He's an honorable guy.
I didn't see the pre-debate.
Yeah, no, I saw parts of it. And Rick Santorum was right there. He was talking about this is a fight against fundamentalist Islam, and it's not. We're not fighting a religion as much as we're fighting an ideology. Thank you. That is also a form of government.
Sure.
So, and that's one of the things that I think it was Governor Huckabee said. I forget it was Santorum or Huckabee said, because it's a form of government, and that they're advocating this form of government called Sharia. Mm-hmm. That is not protected speech, because that is a deliberate attempt to overthrow the United States Constitution.
Right.
To me, if you come to this country...
And government.
Yeah.
And everything the government stands for. Everything the government's built upon.
Right. So if you come to this country with the preconceived understanding that you're here to invoke or to push upon the American people Sharia law... You shouldn't even be in this country. That is unconstitutional.
Yeah, but then how do you how do you split that though in terms of what would be the difference between talking about something and advocating for something and pushing for it because you can't.
These are people, I'm talking about immigrants. If you're
Okay.
immigrating to the United States and you believe that this country needs Sharia law, that means you are coming here and you aren't willing to pledge allegiance to the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands. Because your allegiance is to Sharia. If your allegiance is to Sharia, then you can't be aligned with the Constitution and therefore should never become a citizen of the United States and should be deported.
Yeah, but how do you do that practically? Because I mean, everyone here has a constitutional First Amendment right to say whatever they want if they want.
That's why I'm
advocate for it.
talking about immigrants. If you're an immigrant, you do not have any constitutional rights.
Well, don't they teach that during the classes that the immigrants take when they're brought in and
Some
they
of-
go through the citizen process?
Yeah.
You would think.
But these may be refugees. These may not be citizen status people either. That
They shouldn't be here. If your intent is to overthrow the government
Right.
and
Well,
invoke
of course.
Sharia law, you have no right to
course.
be here. You're almost. I wouldn't
it's an
say
invasion,
it is an invasion. It is not.
right? It is
It
an
is
invasion.
not like
it's just not
your
with guns.
your grandparents or great grandparents when they came over here. They had to pledge allegiance to the United States of America. They couldn't just. They couldn't still be aligned with the German government or aligned with the English government or aligned with any other government. They couldn't come over here and say, "I want to become a citizen, but I still pledge allegiance to the French flag."
But wouldn't the bulk of these refugees trying to come here, they're trying to escape that? I mean, ISIS has turned their worlds upside down, and they're trying to get away from that. It's not like they're
Not necessarily.
We don't
ISIS
know that though.
sympathizers.
But we don't know that, and that's the problem. That was the statement that Mr. Trump made was, for instance, with stopping Muslims from coming here until our government could figure out what is going on or what they're doing.
Yeah, I don't get what
And-
he means by that.
Well,
I mean,
didn't
that's-
particularly agree with the broad stroke that he made, the broad brush stroke that he made.
Yeah, I
with
didn't.
that.
I didn't think you did.
Yeah, I didn't agree with that, and I thought that was a little bit over. But I do understand what he's saying, and it is really the job of our government to know who's coming in here. The difficult question is, how do you really know who they are? And when you let 10 or 100,000, I mean, they're talking. I think the number I was hearing was 100 or 200,000. And you know, if 1% lied and weren't really trying to escape anything, but actually trying to come here to cause problems, that's a big problem on our hands.
But they do go through. I mean, I think it's 18 months the vetting process to come in, and it's
Well,
not like we're just going to let everybody in all at once.
Well, we let that woman in who just shot all those people in California.
Sure, but I mean, people who are already here can become radicalized too. So you can't then say, "Well, we're just not going to let anybody in because we
No.
can't take the risk that."
No, but I think you can. I don't think you could ever be 100% sure. It's like if you sell guns to law-abiding citizens, you can never be positive
Right.
that one of those people that you sell a gun to isn't going to misuse it.
Right.
I mean, that's insane.
I don't support cutting. I don't support blocking any group, religious, racial, color, creed, anything, national origin, anything, from legally becoming American U.S. citizens.
Yeah.
I don't have any problem with that at all. I don't have any problem.
well,
I don't
I
want to stop that. I think this country is built on immigrants,
I agree.
and
Lately, it's been built on ignorance.
Well, there's always that too.
it's getting destroyed. It's being destroyed on ignorance.
Oh, that's a
And-
difference.
Right. It's not being built. It's being destroyed and torn apart.
It sinks
I
into
get
the
it.
ground on
Yeah.
ignorance.
Hey, ISIL, because we hear the news media calls it ISIS. I think they self-identify, which I guess is really important now, as ISIS.
Yeah.
But the Obama refers to them as ISIL.
Right.
You want to explain to people what the difference is and what the ramifications are,
if any.
if any.
My impression was that in the beginning the media couldn't figure out what to call them, and then the White House had to pick a term, like everyone kind of picks a term. But am I?
No, I
There's a
think
huge- there's a
I
huge
think
difference.
ISIL represents the Levant, which is Turkey, Lebanon, Syria,
Israel.
Iran, Iraq, not Iran, and ISIS is Islamic.
It's the Islamic State
Islamic
of
State,
Iraq and Syria.
Right.
Okay, so there is a distinction.
So
There's
the
a
ISIS
huge
is,
distinction.
there's a huge distinction.
Okay.
The Levant includes a lot more countries, and not really sure, but it's like the president understands what that means because that's all he ever calls it, and the media and everybody else still calls it ISIS.
Okay.
So when somebody calls something different, it's not usually the same thing as what everybody else is calling it.
It's not.
He knows what he's saying, and we're trying to figure out why are you saying that? Why are you including these countries?
This is a thing I posted on your Facebook the other day because I kind of want to talk about it. And this goes to this question about why he calls it ISIL, what the Levant includes Israel. So in other words, he's saying they're the Islamic State that controls Iraq and Levant, which includes, like I said, Israel and part, I think all the way up into Turkey or whatever. It's really, really important when you watch Glenn Beck, which I don't really watch, but somebody posted and I watched this little episode. And it was a declassified document from the United States government basically talking about how they were going to create this group of rebels in that area for the sole purpose of disrupting Syria and Iran and have it basically centered initially in Iraq, but basically it was there to disrupt Syria. And so the intent, if he's calling it ISIL, it sounds like his intent was to have this group basically take over this region. But the people he gave those munitions to and money to were actually ISIS.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
And he wants it. I think it depends on how you look at it. Either he's really, really stupid, or he's quite deliberate about how he is manipulating the system. Because I know for months and months, and I didn't understand, I always chalked it up to incompetence, is you would get reports back from GIs in the field in Syria or in Iraq, and there would be columns of people with ISIS flags driving down the road and United States helicopters nearby, and nothing's happening.
Right.
They're not attacking. And there's constant reports of pilots being frustrated because they go out with X number of pounds of munitions, and they're coming back with exactly the same amount. They're not using them. And so it seems like, if you're going to be totally cynical, that Obama, in effect, wants ISIS to succeed and wants it to completely disrupt that entire region. But that's pretty, considering some of the things they're doing, that's pretty horrific.
ISIL refers to the shores of Syria, east shore of the Mediterranean,
Right.
Syria, Lebanon, Palestine, Israel, Jordan. So it's and it also I thought it was Turkey, and I also thought it was Cyprus.
Steve just handed me something he found on Mediaite that addresses this. It says, throughout his exclusive interview with Obama on Meet the Press, Chuck Todd referred to ISIS when discussing the Islamic extremist group that has taken over much of Iraq and Syria, while the president calls it ISIL. Right. During the panel discussion of the foreign policy portion of the interview, Todd revealed why he and many other pundits believe Obama is insisting on saying ISIL, while the rest of the media have agreed on ISIS. Quote, obviously, we refer to it at NBC News as ISIS, unquote, Todd explained to anyone who may have been confused. Quote, the Obama administration, the president says the word ISIL. The last S stands for Syria. The last L they don't want to have stand for Syria, unquote. As Todd says, ISIS stands for the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria, a designation that could indicate the best way to combat the group is to take them on militarily in both those countries. ISIL stands for the Islamic State in Iraq and the Levant. The Levant is a larger area of the Middle East, like you were saying, that actually includes Lebanon and Jordan in addition to Syria. But since the Obama administration has shown much more willingness to attack ISIS in Iraq than they have to attack them in Syria, they seem to have decided it is in their best interest to leave the S out of the name. And there's a little more. Todd's explanation is a far cry from that of Fox News' Harris Faulkner, who has said last week that Obama is tipping his hat to ISIS by calling them ISIL. This kind of sounds like what you were saying. Levant is a bigger territory, she said. That's why they want to embrace that name, and it includes many, many more countries than just Syria. Interesting. Thanks, Steve.
Excuse me.
So anyway, what's your take? Because you gave me, when we were over the shop, John fixed my inspected my truck and fixed my exhaust system. Did a good job too.
And the check engine light went away, and he got its sticker.
Excellent. Excellent.
Right.
It's got my truck's got 260,000.
Wow, really?
Yeah, a lot of miles.
A lot of miles.
Yeah, it is a lot.
But it's a Toyota, so
yeah, they go forever
they
if you
make
take care of them.
they make as good a car as anybody.
Yeah,
They're probably
yeah.
the best.
But anyway, when I was over there, he was explaining this whole, because most people don't really understand what's going on. I think, and personally, the way I understand it, I wanted John on to explain the whole thing. But fundamentally, there's two possibilities, and maybe they're both the same thing. One is that Iran wants to run a pipeline through Iraq, which now it has a lot of control over, and through Syria into the Mediterranean to sell, is it gas or oil? Oil to Europe.
Okay.
Okay. Saudi Arabia wants to run one up through Jordan into Syria and up into Turkey. Okay. For that to happen, the United States, on basically acting on the behalf of Saudi Arabia, is trying to disrupt that government and take it over with a. Now this is the part I wicked need you for. Is that Sunni or what is it? What is Saudi Arabia? What
Sunni.
They're Sunni Muslims.
Yes. Okay.
And most of them are the Wahhabi, which is more of a literal fundamentalist.
Yeah, that's what the hijackers were, right? They were mostly Wahhabis.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Osama bin Laden.
Yeah.
All the other.
And the ISIS is ISIS Wahhabi or?
ISIS is, well, I don't know. There's several different. Is ISIS Wahhabi? No, I would say no. It's probably Shia, or Shiite, or Shia, whatever, however you want to pronounce it.
Okay, I gotta write this down. Where's your pen?
And that is
Yeah.
generally, we've got Bashar
Hafez al-Assad.
Assad
Yeah.
as the I don't know what he is, of Syria, president or whatever you want to call
Right.
him. He's not a great guy, but neither was. These problems have been going on in this Middle East area, for thousands, literally thousands of years, and for some reason we, as the United States of America, or the United States, think that we can change this or we can affect it.
Oh,
And I think what's happening is it's getting clear. I mean, I figured this out a long time ago. I hope our government does that. We've got to start including all of these groups into this solution because we're clearly not going to have an effect of ever ending any of these problems. What we really should be doing, I think, at this point is protecting ourselves, making sure that the United States is safe, and our borders are secure, and our economy is strong, and our people are living to a standard that we've been pretty much used to doing for years. But trying to solve these problems, and it's so complex because it isn't just one or two groups. I mean, there's dozens of groups.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
there's a lot of them.
all these sectarian conflicts that
And-
go on at once, and yeah.
Right. I mean, so we don't even. I kind of agree with. Well, I don't agree with Obama on many things, but we can't get a hold of this. They oppose us. The problem is that they've got oil, and we seem to be dependent on it. And nobody's really asking these questions anymore. The hijackers, they were Saudi Arabian. They were, Osama bin Laden. Most of that was there. Why are we? We know who the groups are that are causing these problems. Even throughout the Middle East, they seem to have that particular group. Often is the wedge between even other Muslim groups. So, we've everybody, the way we're talking in the media and everywhere, it's just that we're grouping everybody in as one. But we know, and we have a good idea of who these groups really are, and where the problems are dividing, and where the separations come. Because if you read, Google it. I mean, it's Wahhabism, for instance, and you'll get an idea of they are right, and everyone, including Jews, Christians, and other Muslims that don't accept their beliefs in a fundamentalist type of practice of the Quran, they're wrong. So you're either right if you're them, and if you're anybody else, you're wrong.
Right.
Literally.
Yeah, but being wrong, does that necessitate death?
Read their rules. Read their book. I think it's we need to start understanding who our friends really are, and
we've been sucking up to the Saudis forever.
I mean, we had of course we have,
and yet it seems like a lot of the terrorism around the world is.
Yeah, I mean they are
tangentially at least associated with them.
They're one of the biggest state sponsors of terror. Yeah, absolutely.
And they are our biggest ally. And the other thing Mr. Trump says is they make about $1 billion a day selling us oil.
Yeah.
But every time there's a disturbance in the Middle East, we send our warships into the Persian Gulf to protect them.
Right.
And he's just asking them to start kicking in a little bit of the.
Right.
Well,
and they don't pay for it. We're paying for it.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I know that I saw a footage or at least a picture of this tent city set up in Saudi Arabia that could house, 30,000 people, and they're not taking any of these refugees in.
Correct, because they don't have the human rights activists that we have. They don't have the they don't have the ACLU. They don't have anybody telling the prince or whoever's running their country to start being more humane to these folks, because they don't have to do anything.
Right.
And they're not going to help them because they're not theirs. And who knows what those tent cities are? I saw them too. I don't know if they're empty or full or what they.
When you call him Prince, you mean like formerly known as Prince?
Hey, When Doves Cry is a great song.
It is a good song.
Little Red Corvette was.
That's a great song too.
Right, that was probably one of my.
Absolutely. I was thinking last night during the Republican debate that I mentioned this on Facebook. It seems like everybody. I give Rand Paul credit for this, because Rand Paul said, this stuff is complicated, like you were just talking about. It's very complicated trying to figure out, who are our friends and who are our enemies and everything. And it's like everybody else on that stage. One thing they have in common is they all seem to agree that Obama's strategy for ISIS or ISIL or whatever is terrible. And yet no two of them seem to have a similar idea. Like one wants a no-fly zone, one wants to do this, one wants to do that. And I feel like none of them really have any idea. It's all just sort of, like they're all blindfolded. It's just, pin the tail on the Islamic extremists. None of them really know.
Pin the tail on, that's a good game.
Yes. Maybe we could play that after the show. I don't know. Well, we need an Islamic extremist, but.
Could be a pigtail.
Could be. Yeah, whatever. But I feel like none of them really know. They're just throwing out these ideas to sound like they have some kind of a plan.
Right.
When in reality, there really is no plan. And, I think the best thing to do would be kind of pull back a little bit and stop accidentally arming our enemies, for example.
Do you think that was an accident, though? Are you sure that was an accident?
Well, here's what I'm going to sound really cynical, but I believe that a lot of this is intentional, because I think that, not to sound, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, and I get self-conscious that I sound conspiratorial when I say this, but I do believe that in the military-industrial complex that is a thing that we have to keep fueling, and I think that a lot of this is done intentionally, and they keep us confused, and we get, like I look at Iraq, the invasion went great, but they didn't plan for the occupation, or so it would seem. Or was that intentional? Were we supposed to get bogged down in Iraq because war is a business and that keeps the war machine going?
Well, I know that was it 2007, Bush said, if we pull out, we're going to create a vacuum where anything could happen. And
right.
And so,
which would have happened whenever we left. Didn't matter if we left then or left recently or whatever.
I think you're right, because Bush and our government spent a lot of money training soldiers from Iraq so that they could defend themselves. Mm-hmm. And as soon as the poop hit the rotating air mover, they turned tail and ran. Mm-hmm. So where'd all that money go?
Right.
I mean, what we could have done with the $4 trillion that we spent in those particular areas.
Trump was right. Trump was absolutely 100%
when he said that
right.
last night, it was like, imagine, we could have all had health care. We could have all had our mortgages paid for.
Right.
We could have all had, we could have been all living literally on Easy Street.
Yeah.
If we didn't waste $4 trillion
right.
on these. I guess if you spend that kind of money, you would expect some sort of result. But nobody that, Democrats, Republicans, I don't think it matters who they are, in Congress, they're appropriating this money to be spent on for these reasons. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that we're any further ahead. I don't know.
I don't think the money gets to them.
I don't think it gets to them either.
No, I think they ship all this X number of dollars over to these little, and I think some of the what are the groups that go over there and fight alongside our military? They're not Halliburton, things like that.
Yeah. Oh, the Blackwater. Oh, they have a different name now.
Yeah.
They changed it for publicity reasons.
Yeah, it's just freshwater now. So
Greywater.
Greywater, yeah. They send, what do they call the nuclear waste? Something water. No, hard water. Anyway, so they send all this money to these different groups that are supposed to be doing, health, helping with building hospitals, schools, and I just think it's completely pilfered. I think it's absolutely pilfered. Remember, we had Lynn Blankenbecker on years ago. Yeah. And this is how corrupt our government is, or stupid, depends on how we look at it. They've got more money than brains. She said that as in the military in Afghanistan, when she went there as I think she was a nurse. Yeah. Right.
Oh yeah.
She would have kids come in that had been run over by American tractors, right? And she'd at first because she's a normal human being, she'd feel compassion for the little kid, patch him up, get him all fixed up, and the parents sometimes would go out back and shoot the kid after it was done. The kid was all fixed up. Because all they cared about was throwing the kid under the tractor to collect the $5,000 that the United States government pays for reparations for when they harm these people by accident.
Wow.
Like, it is very possible that, like that hospital, somebody deliberately targeted that to get more money from the United States government. Somebody gave them false information. I don't know that that's true. I obviously can't prove it. Never would be able to prove it. But I know from Lynn that's how corrupt the system is. We're just sending money over, like Trump said.
Right.
Just billions and billions and trillions of dollars for.
The worst part of it is we're sending our young men and women over there, and they're dying. They are the most honorable group of people that we have, and probably our most important resource that we have. And it really doesn't matter what is going on over there. The fact is that they are over there risking their lives and losing their lives and coming back wounded and
emotionally wounded too,
and physically wounded. Yeah. The thing, and we're not taking care of them.
Yeah.
Our VA system has failed. We know that, and but I talk to veterans. I've been talking to them for years about the lack of quality health care they get when they go to a VA center.
Here's a cool idea. What about if whoever we elect president makes a pledge that they will not engage in any military activity until the veterans that have already been hurt are taken care of?
I
Don't start anything else until you've fixed the ones you've already messed up.
Yeah.
I always thought that I always thought that if I was in that position, I would want combat veterans employed in the veterans hospitals, because they're the only ones that they don't. I say the only ones, but they really understand what those veterans are going through that are going there for help.
That makes sense.
So if I was to ever be in a position to do that, I would be asking for the VA system. If you're going to change it also, and don't put administrators in there that haven't seen combat.
Right.
Don't put doctors in there, and don't put nurses in there, and people that are in there serving our military, our veterans, and our soldiers. Put people in there that have seen and been through what they're going through, and their service, I bet, would increase dramatically.
I think that's a great idea.
Quickly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because combat vets they understand what they've been through.
Yeah.
And they understand what their patients are going through as well.
Yeah. And the
A lot better
PTSD
than an
and all that.
administrator
Yeah.
that's just there,
Right. Some bureaucrat.
never seen combat, never even been in the military perhaps, and they're just,
Right.
Yeah.
they're
But
just
actually-
crunching numbers.
Yeah.
Actually, Ted Cruz
Yeah.
was said something last night. He doesn't know what he's talking. I like him. I think he's probably one of the brightest people on that stage. But he kept talking about carpet bombing.
Oh yeah.
And then basically what he was talking about was targeted strikes against ISIS in the cities.
Yeah.
He really didn't mean carpet bombing.
Right.
Yeah. I saw
could-
that on one of the fact-checking websites.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because carpet bombing means you just wipe out everything.
Right.
Right.
You know, and dogs, kittens, little children, everything are just fried. You know, what he meant was targeted airstrikes, but
Yeah.
that's what you.
Well,
do
words
himself
have
favors.
meanings,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
And yeah.
so that was kind of a blue. I don't think I just presume he didn't mean it. What else is going on? Oh yeah, I wanted to talk to you about that. There's a vet who. And it's really kind of aggravated me. I was watching this on a YouTube video today, and there's a vet, and I forget what state he's from. He apparently posted something on Facebook, or so they said, social media, that was the United States government, I don't know if it was BATF or who, came into his house, arrested him, and did all this stuff, looked for guns and everything else, put him in a psychiatric unit for 10 days and never charged him with anything.
Wow.
Now, what bothered me about that was a few things. Okay,
Yeah.
He was deprived of his liberty without due process. He was deprived of his liberty for something he said on social media, which really means you're just mouthing off. It doesn't mean you're actually a threat to anybody. It can,
Right. Right.
but that bothered me. If you listen to the debate last night, there's a bunch of people who seem to believe that you could not, under current law, check the social media site of that dirtbag lady who shot up all those people in California, because somehow that was kind of protected.
Yeah, which is weird.
But yet they can check the social media of a United States veteran.
Yeah.
How's that work? Where is that?
Yeah. It's
Are you out of your mind?
bizarre.
The third thing that really bothered me about that is it was on Russia Today. You know the Russia Today TV show
Yeah.
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 that they do in English?
Yeah.
Right.
Why did I have to hear that from Russia? Why isn't that front page news in the United States?
Right.
That's my rant. I guess
It's getting to be the norm, maybe.
I
Maybe
think
it's
so.
not news anymore here.
No.
But I would classify that as just kidnapping. And whoever took this guy out of his house and forced him to do something, I think they owe him a huge amount of money in
Well, that's actually one of the things I post on Facebook, which bothers me. Yes, I'm sure he's going to win a lawsuit. So what? The lawsuit, the people that perpetrated that, they don't care.
Right.
Why do they care? That's the taxpayers' money.
That should come out of
That's
their
going to come out of your pocket.
Yeah, but it should come out of their retirement
It
account.
should, yeah.
That's what we have to start working on. Either people who do this have to have some sort of
Accountability. Yeah.
like you say. Maybe take it out of the if you're going to arrest somebody falsely, and it's proven that it was negligence or what's above negligence when you do it deliberately. It wasn't like you
Intentional?
just
I mean,
intentional negligence. Is that a term? If it's intentionally done and you know you're violating somebody's constitutional rights, yeah, absolutely. The money you should start losing money.
If you don't know you're violating them, if you violated them, then you can't you can't harm another man. And once you do that, a man or woman, but a man, you violate them and you violate their constitutional rights. There's a huge price to pay for that.
It's like what was it? Was a video?
And that's government's duty is to protect our property, and everything that's proper to us, and that's the government's main purpose I believe, and they say it in the Constitution, as a matter of fact, but their main purpose is to protect and secure
the liberty,
our property.
Right.
And which is everything, things that we think, things that we write, things that we possess. It's us, it's everything. And when somebody harms anything that's proper to me or you, then it's the government's duty, the only duty, is to secure and protect our property.
Yeah, there's supposed to be an extension, to go beyond where you and I can actually legitimately go and protect our rights. Not use that power to supersede them or to take them away. It's insane.
That's what the government's purpose is for. That's what I think it's for. They've gotten into every other field possible, but I think we should bring them back to secure and protect a man's rights.
Yeah.
And that's property, not rights.
I don't know how we do that.
Because rights are property.
I don't know how we do that practically, but I know that I was watching a video yesterday of a guy. I assume it was a pretty rugged chase with the cops. I don't know, but you didn't see the video before that.
Yeah.
But the guy's car is up on its side, and the guy's pulling himself out of the car, and the cop shoots him in the neck.
Oh.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
How do you do that? How do you?
Right.
Yeah. What kind of consequences are there? I mean, in that case, it's murder, really.
Yeah.
If there's nothing else to it that you don't know. I mean,
right.
I wouldn't convict the guy ahead of time, but because that's depriving him of his liberty. But we have mostly really good cops, but you have one cop that violates somebody's liberty. And then the town Ware gets sued. There was that Hispanic kid that was a known drug dealer. They surrounded his car. He got nervous and tried to take off, and they shot him. He's unarmed.
Right, and without hair and no drugs in the car.
I didn't remember that, but that's almost irrelevant anyway. How can you just shoot somebody because you think they have drugs in the car? That's insane.
Well, you can make up a story, and
that's what they did.
Exactly. I mean, that's
so the town of Ware got hit up. We settled a lawsuit for $300,000.
Yeah.
But there's no consequences.
Right, and the guy's dead.
The guy's dead.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying the guy was a nice guy. I'm sure he wasn't.
Gary, it's no different than this no-fly list that they've come up with, and they've tied, and unfortunately, a couple of our senators in New Hampshire supported Obama's plan to restrict us from protecting ourselves and defending ourselves, our life, liberty, our property, and the state. If we are on that no-fly list.
Yeah. So if the viewers aren't aware, basically, President Obama, in his speech after the killing in California, said that and politically it's smart because it sounds legitimate.
Right.
Okay, this sounds absolutely legit. You know, if somebody is on a no-fly is so dangerous to the United States of America that they're on a no-fly list, how come they can turn around and buy a gun? Sounds good.
Right. Right.
Sounds really good on paper, but like you said, how do you get on the no-fly list? Is it arbitrary? Is it because I posted something about Obama on Facebook that he's a lying dirtbag? Oh, I shouldn't have said that. I got to fly out to California.
Now you're
in a
on the
couple
no-fly
years.
list.
That's it.
Ted Kennedy was on the no-fly list.
He was?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he ended up on there. There was a story. There was a story recently about a baby. These parents are trying to get board a plane with their baby, and
I
the
saw
baby's
that.
on the no-fly
I
list.
saw that.
Well, yeah, some babies really should be on the no-fly
Well,
list.
They
yeah.
shouldn't be flying. Right,
Oh,
exactly.
yeah,
right.
that's true.
No, that's
That's true.
legit.
Right, sit next to one.
Yeah.
On a 5-hour flight.
Yeah,
you'll-
exactly. It seems
Yeah.
like a
Right.
40-hour flight,
Right.
But no, but the problem, people, Obama says that nice little speech, but when you really look at it, you're telling somebody that you are depriving somebody of their Second Amendment rights based on an allegation, or you're depriving people of their liberty without due process.
Right.
And I just learned too, because I was kind of new to some of this. Apparently, if you're denied, like if you fail the background check when you're buying a gun, you're not told why you failed, correct?
I don't know.
You're just denied, and that's
I think
it.
you're denied. Yeah.
That's what Jeff Knox told me from the Firearms Coalition, that you're denied. You're never told why. So now, if you bring in this other component with the no-fly list, well, you're not going to be told, I guess, that that's why you fail, and you're not, and no one tells you how you ended up on the no-fly list. So it's like there's no way to even, how do you even appeal that if you're never even told why you're denied?
What's the criteria for getting on that list?
Yeah,
I
and
think
it's all
that's
a big
I
secret.
mean, that's dangerous. I mean, we don't know. We don't know. And
How
as,
easy would it be just to start adding people arbitrarily?
Right.
Once you establish that as law, theoretically,
right.
and if nobody contests it and bring it to the Supreme Court, and they just start implementing it, you could just start adding people like this,
Sure.
Well, yeah, he's Republican, he's a Christian. I mean, if you looked at their list of what a domestic terrorist was a few years ago, if you were somebody who had been in the military,
Right. Oh yeah.
if you were a born-again Christian, if you listen to Rush Limbaugh, probably, but there was a whole list,
Yeah.
Right.
which I would think would be depending
Most people with 2 or 3 or 4 of those things anyway.
to me, if you weren't qualified as a domestic terrorist, you're doing something wrong. You just don't care about your country.
I can imagine somebody taking an NRA database.
Probably if you call yourself a conservative, probably.
Ooh, yeah, that's pretty
Right,
bad.
Tea Party.
Yeah,
You know,
Yeah.
but
which
that.
isn't even a party. It's just
Right.
you know.
Right.
So you got the no-fly list, and I don't know why Ayotte voted for that.
Oh yeah.
That surprises me.
With
That does
Obama-
surprise
yeah.
me.
Well, it
Politically,
used to surprise me.
okay.
How's that?
No,
Let's
because
stop it there.
Because
So-
a couple of years ago, I went up and
I still-
deliberately went up to her and said I was supporting you because of your stand on the Second Amendment, and I was there. That was that crappy video I took
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
of the lady out front
Yeah.
protesting, and I was asking her basically why she was there.
That was after Sandy Hook, right?
Yeah, and she had no idea what she was talking about.
Because I remember you asked her, like, how would gun control have stopped the Sandy Hook shooting? I think you would ask
Yeah,
her. and
exactly.
She couldn't answer the
She had no
question.
idea.
Yeah.
She's up there protesting, and it said, "We will remember," and all this. Remember what?
Right.
So I went up to support Ayotte because she didn't fall into that trap. But now she's worried about getting reelected, so
Yeah.
things change.
Yeah, it's funny how things like the conversations that are going on during this election cycle, it happened. They talk about it. It's in the news. It's a daily thing right now. They're talking about it now because it's an election cycle.
That's
If
it.
it was next year, nobody would be talking about this.
Then
Right.
you had Mark Kelly come up here and claim that New Hampshire was riddled with gun violence.
Right.
I didn't hear about this.
Yeah,
I mean, that we're riddled with gun violence part.
yeah, we are apparently.
Nobody's shot at me yet.
No, well,
Knock on wood.
well,
Could
let's
you
wait till after the show.
that picture that I saw of Mark Kelly speaking, his wife was in the picture, I think, and there was also the I think you're one of the Manchester aldermen. Bill Barry. I think
okay.
Bill Barry was in that picture, and I believe isn't.
Well, they have the list. I saw. I should have brought.
I
the
thought
list.
he was in that picture, and I was wondering why he was standing there with Mark Kelly
Yeah.
because, well, he's an alderman, but he's a Democrat, and that's fine. But I don't understand why he would be supporting whatever Mark Kelly's trying to sell.
Well, Bill Barry is a Democrat, so maybe he's just pro-gun.
Yeah, but no, there's a lot of pro.
Isn't he law enforcement? Isn't he?
Yeah.
Isn't he?
Yeah.
He's
But
law
there's a
enforcement.
lot of pro Second Amendment Democrats in
There
the
are.
New Hampshire House.
We should clarify too. Mark Kelly, of course, the husband of Gabby Gifford, who was shot
Yeah,
when she was senator or
I think she was Congress.
Rep,
I think she was a
forget, okay.
congresswoman.
yeah.
Yeah, she.
Are there a lot of husbands and wives that don't have the same name, or is that just
My wife doesn't have the same name as me.
Yeah, your wife's not named
Her
Gary.
name's Nick. Yeah, she's not named Gary. That's right.
No, her last name is Lashway.
Oh.
Which is really good because she's in the Manchester school system. So this way she can, plausible deniability.
She
I
can
think.
deny ever knowing you.
Yeah, I don't know that guy. He's
Right.
a freaking jerk.
Right.
Well, how do you know? Then you would. The obvious question is, well, how do you know he's a jerk if you don't know him?
Ah.
She might watch the show.
Yeah. Oh, I watched. Yeah. There you go. But that's never happened. So she.
What
Yeah,
else
so-
we talk about? Yeah.
So it was funny because they basically exaggerated the amount of murders or gun violence in New Hampshire at first, and then they kind of backed off in that because it was just completely untrue.
It was like 3 last year or something. I mean,
Yeah, it's insanely
6 last year,
Aren't
whatever.
we-
He was saying 3. He was saying 1 every 3 days or something. I mean,
Some
like a
stupid
huge number.
Yeah. Well, aren't we statistically year after year one of the 1 or 2 safest states in the country?
Oh,
Aren't we
yeah.
usually in
Oh,
like
yeah.
the top
Yeah.
2.
Of course.
Yeah.
Right. There's
I
a-
actually saw the coolest map. I don't know if I reposted on Facebook, but it was a really cool map, and it's talk about gun violence per 100,000
Yeah.
by state as
Yeah.
opposed to nationally, and we are as safe. New Hampshire is as safe as Maine, Vermont, weirdly Massachusetts too, which kind of surprises me. But anyway, as most of the provinces in Canada, there are some provinces in Canada that are worse and much worse, but the safest places in Canada are equal to the gun violence rate as New Hampshire. So we're really very safe place to be,
Yeah.
and we have the most
yeah.
liberal. Vermont is one of those, and their gun laws are more liberal than ours are.
Yeah.
So it's all a bunch of BS. I don't know why. I think they said they were up here because somebody kind of questioned them on that. Why are you here when we really don't have any violence? I mean, if you're going to start something, at least go someplace where you have a problem with it.
Right.
Because they know they'll get the press in the first in the nation primary
That's
state.
it.
Yeah.
It's
That's
all
it.
about the press.
It's all about the press. There's plenty of places they could go that they may have an effect, but
Chicago.
yeah, coming here,
Chicago. You know
they're
what's
probably here raising money.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Which actually was weird. If you look at that map, the places that are really the worst, the least safe as far as gun violence is concerned, are Louisiana and Mississippi. If I get those states correct, that's
Probably.
the worst in the country, and I don't know why, because that is the Bible Belt. I would wager a guess that the percentage of intact families in those 2 states are really low.
Yeah.
That would be my guess, but I'd have to somehow figure out a way to bear that out. But I bet you that's the case. I bet you it's like what the problem with most things are is lack of fathers. Dads,
In Mississippi too, I mean, there's probably a lot of frustration and angst over having a state that's difficult to spell.
Yeah, because everybody uses it. MISSISSIPPI.
Right, but they haven't learned that there yet,
Right.
so they can't spell their own state's name, which would
In
upset me.
Louisiana,
I'd be
that's
angry.
kind of.
I'd be shooting somebody.
Right. Exactly. And plus, you got those stupid boats going up and down all the time.
Exactly. Yeah. Stupid boats.
Stupid big boats with a big ass paddle wheel,
Drive me to.
large
I'd be out
paddle
there shooting 'em
wheels.
up.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Right.
probably what it is.
Huh? Huh?
You know, somebody yelling out the window when you're trying to sleep, Mark Twain, you know, and stuff like that.
Yeah. I'd be like, I got your Mark Twain right here. And your Smith & Wesson right here, buddy.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I would be doing.
Probably the riverboat gambling, too.
Yes.
You know.
You lose a lot of money. You shoot somebody.
Okay, what else did I have? I had a whole stuff. I screwed up last week. I had Pam Tucker on. I usually have a bunch of things I want to talk about.
How could you screw up with Pam Tucker?
She's so pretty. I guess I choked.
She's so smart,
She
so
is
classy.
wicked. I know.
She
She is
is.
awesome.
I look forward to her entering the race for U.S. Congress in the 1st District of New Hampshire.
Yeah.
I would look forward to her running. She is one.
Yeah, she's wicked bright, and she's the thing I
So,
like about her. She's been up in Concord enough to understand how to work in an environment where you're working around different contingencies and different groups. You know, because there's a certain amount of finesse required. I don't have it, but there is a certain amount of finesse that you really need, and to be able to do that well and get things done.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I am so obvious and so upfront with everything I believe that people don't try to negotiate with me for bills because they already know where I stand and know exactly how I'll vote.
Yeah.
Which is the way I like it because it's simple and I'm dumb enough where it's an easy way for me to keep track. But by the same token, if you're careful, and you can actually get a lot more done by just holding your cards and
Sure.
playing it more like a poker game than a
Poker stick.
than a pogo stick.
No, poker stick.
Why does a pogo stick have to do with
Poker
this?
stick.
Poker stick.
Isn't that what you poke the fire with?
Oh,
Poker.
yeah. Okay.
Oh.
I
Just
didn't
a
know what you
poker.
meant at first. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Good point.
Good point.
Yeah.
Point.
Glad you brought him on.
Point.
Oh,
I know.
yeah, the poke. Yeah.
Stick, right.
Poke with a poke stick.
Poker. What else, Gary?
That was it. That's it. That's all I got. I got nothing.
Well, we
We
could
cover everything.
trash Lindsey Graham some more, or
Lindsey Graham's pretty horrible. He is a scary cotton picking dude.
Very hawkish.
Christie is wicked scary.
yeah, Chris is scared. There was something else that came out in the news. I don't we have 5 minutes left or something.
No, we got like 2.
Okay.
Is
well,
Bob out there? Oh, we
Christie
got 3
was-
minutes left.
I don't know if it's true or not, but what I remember when he said that he was brought in right the day after 9/11 or something, and he was saying that for a long time.
But it turns out
that
not
it-
true.
Turns out that from what I read, he was brought in around December. But he kept saying he was, 9/11, and then the next day he was off and running because his job
Yeah, he hit the
started
road running. Yeah.
Yeah.
like the next day. That's what he's been saying for a year now, a
Right.
long
Right.
time.
Yeah.
But what I was told through some sources that he actually didn't start the day after 9/11. He started in December.
No kidding.
Don't know why he needed to be so, so part of that.
He's trying to play the Giuliani
He
card.
arrived. He arrived in time. And
When Giuliani, remember when he was running, it was like he's just constantly
might have,
reminding
yeah.
everybody that he was mayor.
I
when
think
9/11 happened.
exactly.
I think I still believe.
Giuliani did a good job during 9/11.
He did, he
I mean,
did.
Yeah.
I still think the worst one is Hillary Clinton claiming that when she went into Bosnia, she had to
remember that.
basically duck down and run across the airfield to
Yeah.
avoid you getting shot.
Right.
And it's like,
Yes.
it never happened.
Totally made it
Right.
up.
She totally made it up.
Yeah.
And it's not like she could accidentally say it like there's a misunderstanding.
Right.
Right.
It's not even close. I know what a bullet sounds like when it goes by you, and it's not a pleasant thing.
Right.
And so somebody claiming that happened when it didn't happen is an absolute positive lie.
Yeah.
It is not she misremembered or whatever they use for the word for lying nowadays. I don't
Hillary
know that was-
Clinton lied. Is that what you're saying?
I just said that, yes.
Breaking news.
I hadn't heard that before.
We got to wrap it up.
We gotta
they
wrap
just
it up.
got a sign that said "wrap it up."
Wrap
Do
it
they-
up.
do the
That's
peop-
remember that
do
song,
the-
Fabulous Thunderbirds?
Do the people on that watch and actually get to see the sign and say "wrap it up"?
I don't
3
think they
minutes
do,
left.
but it'd be fun if they
applause.
did.
We never get a plot. Why do
We
we
didn't get a phone call tonight, which
We didn't
is
get
a
a
little
phone call. Why do
surprising.
we
Should
get
have put that on the screen.
right?
Phone call. But that would
Phone
confuse
call.
us because then we would think.
Yeah. Why don't we
They
get
could
like?
have put almost live.
Why can't they have? Why
Almost
can't they have a
call
thing
in.
up there that says applause so people at home know that
Maybe we'll do that
They
next
should-
week.
Yeah.
applause?
And then they'll applaud when they're home. They'll applaud.
Yeah.
That'd be
We'll
a good
know.
idea.
We'll sense it.
We'll sense it. What? What do you say?
What's that, John?
Thanks for the veggie platter. That was nice of you.
Oh,
Oh,
yes,
you're
yes.
welcome, buddy. Hey, Merry Christmas.
Bye, everybody.
Yeah.